And joining us, as he always does Thursday mornings, is former Clinton White House counsel Lanny Davis, also author of the brand new book Crisis Tales, which debuted this week. Quite a book party you had there, Lanny Davis.
Well, what really made it, everybody eye-opener was to see Larry not only being nice to me, but tweeting out that he was proud to be at my party. I'm sure.
Wow.
Have your ratings gone down over the last week?
I lost so many followers from that. I did, but weirdly, I picked up Hillary Clinton as a Twitter follower. So, go figure. Well, congratulations on the book, and it was really nice. We talk about how Lanny tries to do the Purple Coalition and everything, right, and work together with Michael Steele, who was also there, and it really was a completely bipartisan party and event. So you should be congratulated for that.
Thank you, especially with you there. You were the talk of the room.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Well, it was the pants I was wearing. So, Lanny, now let's throw all that fun stuff aside and let's get down to it. Yesterday, it wasn't very bipartisan in the Senate. I'm sure you saw Rand Paul from Kentucky doing a good old-fashioned filibuster. You used to be a counsel for a president, Bill Clinton in particular, at the White House. I ask you, is it out of line for a senator to ask this very fundamental question, and shouldn't John Brennan and the White House provide an answer? And the question is it constitutional for the President of the United States to target and go after, attack a civilian here, a citizen of the United States here on American soil with a drone?
Well, first of all, the answer is it is appropriate what Senator Rand Paul is doing. It's courageous, and I admire what he's doing, but it is also bipartisan. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon has joined him to support him. He's been one of the toughest voices, in addition to Senator Paul, about this issue.
Well said, and I praised him earlier. You're right.
Much more forthcoming. I don't know if the word transparent applies here, but forthcoming under the right circumstances to explain what their standards are for when due process clause of the Constitution can be suspended. It's a very troubling question, and it deserves an answer.
Does it trouble you that the Obama White House continues to avoid that question and not provide the answer?
Yes, it does trouble me. It troubled me about the Bush White House and the surveillance program, which Republicans were strangely silent about. I was on the President's privacy board. President Bush honored me by putting me on the board, and when I finally got read into that highly classified program, I said to then head of the National Security Agency, General Mike Hayden, if this could be done in a legally sound basis, and the American people, without violating any classified secrets, should be told how important this program is to protect all of us, it would have gone over much better. It took several years for the Bush White House to get a legal foundation for that program, because the program is and was important, and did, I think, protect many, at least possibly many terrorist incidents. The White Houses through the years, Democrat and Republican, including the one I worked in, have an instinct when it comes to national security, and understandably, to be very, very careful. But in this case, we deserve an explanation, and I think Senator Wyden, Senator Rand, a number of Democrats and Republicans are at least sympathetic to what Senator Rand is saying.
All right. When you were with us last time...
Senator Paul, excuse me.
Okay. You were with us last time. You made huge news because you sort of joined in with Bob Woodward. Bob Woodward had said that he had been, sort of threatened by the White House, the Obama White House. And you said, well, indirectly, when I was connected to the Washington Times, they came after the Washington Times because they didn't like my particular columns, actually threatened, through inference, to take away their White House credentials. Turned into a huge story. And I'm just sort of curious, has there been any blowback from the White House about that?
Well, certainly my wife has reminded me that at 6:35 in the morning I shouldn't say too much. Look, there was no blowback, and it was one person, not the White House. And 48 hours later, it was over. I was called back and said it'll never happen again. But I gave you an honest answer, and I think it's much more important to talk about the snowstorm that didn't happen yesterday than to go back to that story.
Well, hold it, but I mean, why are you backing away from it? Because you wanted to tell that story. I mean, we didn't pry it out of you. You wanted to tell that story. Why are you backing away from it now?
I've actually told everyone you put me on a rack and forced me.
That's not true.
I think that the audio.
I think the evidence says otherwise.
Honestly, of course, stand by the story. It happened. I didn't back away. I just made it clear one person made that phone call. But honestly, I had no idea that it would be controversial because it happened 48 hours later. It unhappened. It's never happened again. The reason I did it is that Bob Woodward is a friend of mine, and I just said, coincidentally, this is what happened to me, and it is something that I think the White House should take seriously and not let it happen again. I'm not really minimizing, but it's just something I'd rather move on because it was 6:35 in the morning. I didn't think I would be stirring a huge blow up on Twitter.
Sure did, Nola, didn't it? Listen, you're Mr. Purple Nation. You're all about reaching across the aisle. That's one of the big things you care about. Last night, the president sat down with a bunch of GOP senators to have dinner at the Jefferson Hotel, something that I can't recall happening as long as he's been president. What do you think's going on there?
I have to be so careful because I'm a supporter of Barack Obama's. I support his policies. I voted for him. But then I end up sounding critical all the time. But I've got to do this. Why did it take him so long? Why did it take him so long to do this? Why is he not in the trenches rather than waiting until now to pound away himself, not through delegation, but Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich pounded away till I got a balanced budget amendment. And I've written columns saying, call John McCain and Lindsey Graham. They're your two go-to people, conservatives, critics, and rather than tell them what you want, ask them what do you need to do a deal. So it looks like he's now doing that. And I said, when I wrote about his second term, he's running for history now, not for re-election. And I am uncomfortable with the partisan rhetoric that is being used in the notion of setting up an organization to throw red meat in order to win the 2014. I want to win back the House in 2014, but I don't want to do it at the expense of dividing the country. And what he did last night, I give him great credit, but it should have been done a long time ago. He should have endorsed Simpson Bowles.
Right.
And I hope this works out. And this is the beginning of a pattern where he rolls up his sleeves and meets with Republicans.
Got to leave it right there, Lanny.
Lanny Davis, thanks so much for joining us again, the author of the brand new book, Crisis Tales. It's out this week. And, Lanny, your wife, a beautiful woman, she's obviously mistaken when she says that you shouldn't come on the show here at 6:30. And she's made other mistakes. I mean, look, she ended up with you.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Lanny.
That was at 6:35 in the morning I proposed to her.
There you go. There's